Ghana just host? Was it an inter-house sports or a real African championships? When you've been to several African championships, you know the difference I'm talking about in terms of coverage, in terms of trying to get the correct results, in terms of athletes having to rely on officials to tell them, oh, your throw is just 16 meters. Because why? They can't see it on the electronic board. These are some of the dramas that happen in Accra, Ghana.
For last weekend, there was a game, I think Celtic Lily Strong, and Iheanacho came in with the noise and everywhere. It was a case of if you miss, that is the end. They wouldn't have be able to get the title. And he came on and he was giving the penalty. There was noise everywhere, screaming everywhere, and he was able to talk. In fact, the penalty was like he just decided to put it there. It was like the keeper was to the other side and he took the ball in and they won that game.
14 gold medals, 13 silver, and 2 bronze medals. And guess what? Out of the 14 gold medals that were won, the women won 12 of it. Welcome to the CCN Chief Swore Show. You're wondering, why am I starting the show? Well, Swore is somewhere in Port Harcourt trying to get the flight back to Lagos. Yeah, it can be that difficult. Okay, on the show today, we'll be praising our women. Yeah, not because I'm a woman, but simply because they did something great, all of them, over the weekend, from last week till last night. We're going to start off with the weightlifting team that went to Ismailia in Egypt. And of course, we also go to Serie A in Rome, what happened with Rinsola Babajide. And of course, you know, Shukurat. We'll be talking about those ladies. And also, well, Maduka Okoye. Yes, we'll chip in the men, but not so much. Chip in Maduka Okoye. We'll also chip in Kelechi Iheanacho. If you need a trophy, you know who to call. Just give me a call and you're going to get what you want. So we'll talk about Kelechi Iheanacho. And definitely, the reason for this show and the reason for my guest today is simply because of the African Athletics Senior Championship. What did Ghana just host? Charles Ogunduya is here. He'll be answering some of those questions. Charles, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Nice to be here, at least after so many botched attempts to be here on the show. Nice to be here today after what's. At least you're talking about the women. Let's cut a slack for the men.
Yeah,
why are you? Yeah, Nacho won the trophy over the weekend, and he actually gave it to the team because last weekend, if he did not score the penalty, maybe they wouldn't have won it that period. So give him some of his flour.
I started with that, which I just did. Okay, now let's start off talking about giving the flowers. We're going to start off with the weightlifting team. I'm going to tell you how they made it to our show today. Simply because the weightlifting team, they finished with 29 medals in Egypt. And of course, out of the 29 medals, 14 of them, 14 gold medals, 13 silver, and 2 bronze medals. And guess what? Out of the 14 gold medals that were won, the women won 12 of it. So now you understand what I'm talking about. So give it up for our women's weightlifting team. So do you want to break it down?
But seriously, let's talk about them. If you're talking about this woman, look at Lawal especially. She has been there almost. In fact, I was surprised that somebody like Folashade did not win any gold. She only won 3 silver. Those are the people that have always been there at the Olympics, at the Commonwealth Games.
Folashade Lawal won 3 gold medals.
3 gold. No, there is another. The one Agboro or something.
Okay.
And she won 3 silver at the same championship. Yes. Those are the people that you know when they go for African Games, Commonwealth Games, Olympics, they are always there. So they've been there for years. And it's just like talking about the Paralympics the same way you talk about our women. Paralympics are the one always winning things for us. And then the women are always there. And yes, give it to them. They've really done well for themselves. And hopefully our men can. But you can't really compete with some of these countries you're talking about. Talk about Egypt, talk about Tunisia, talk about Algeria. It's difficult for our men to compete with these people. And one of the things we have going for us with our women is the fact that we started this sport earlier than most of these other countries compared to the men. Men have always been in sport. Some countries do not even allow their women to go for sporting activities. Egypt, I was in Ghana during African Games, and if you check their ladies, those that came out to compete are not even really those one living at home. They're not living back at home. They are like maybe in school somewhere, and no, they are citizens, but maybe they are in school somewhere. Their parents are rich and they put them in private school. Go and check. It's only their men that go for most of these sports, especially this Arab country.
What you're trying to say is that because the Arab country, or maybe the North Africa, their women at home are not really competing as much as the men. That's the reason our women are dominating.
We have to celebrate our celebrate our girls. No. They are doing what the men are not doing. Let me put it in quotes. Yes. So
I love that.
I know you will love that.
I love that because in the men's event, Favour Agboro won just one gold. Edidiong Umoafia also secured one gold medal. That's what makes it 14. So women won 12 of those gold medals. So give it to our women who went to the African Weightlifting Championship in Egypt, and of course they got that 12 gold medals.
But you know something about weightlifting? Okay, it's 3 events. Clean and jerk, snatch, and the total. So it's a case of if you are able to win overall 2, then you will win the total 3. Definitely. Yes. You just need to win your clean and jerk and snatch. If you can get those 2 correctly, then you will get the total. And then you will to win the 3.
Which is a great one. So if it's so easy, let the men do the same thing and also get their total. So winning one gold each, well, is a great one. So weightlifting, we're giving it up to them. And of course, the 2 ladies who were with the Super Falcons last year when they won the what was the Mission X
completed
African championship title that they won in Morocco last year. So these 2 ladies, talking about Shukurat Oladipo and obviously Rinsola Babajide, the 2 of them also helped AS Roma to win the league title this weekend. So we'll give it up to them for that fantastic performance. I'm still talking about the women, obviously. So okay, you don't have nothing to say to that. But then, Kelechi Iheanacho, yes. Now, time to talk about Kelechi Iheanacho. Kelechi Iheanacho is one player that each time you talk about him, you know, there's something that he brings to the table. You've already explained it earlier. Now, we want to dwell on it. He won the title with Celtic. That's a Celtic's 14th title in 15 years. More like the dominant factor when it comes to the Scottish League. But the fact that Kelechi Iheanacho was part of this squad, especially when he started early. I remember there was a time he wasn't playing, he got injured. But since he came back, he's been consistent, even coming in as a sub. He became a super sub for the team. What role did he play in them clinching this league title this time?
If you look at the title for Celtic, it has been a case of art leading from almost day one of the year. Yes. And there was this talk around the whole world that, maybe finally another team will break the jinx that it has always been Rangers and Celtic winning. And the team is already there. And before last weekend, there was a game, I think Celtic Lillestrøm. And Iheanacho came in with the noise and everywhere. It was a case of if you miss, that is the end. They wouldn't have been able to get the title. And he came on and he was giving the penalty. There was noise everywhere, screaming everywhere. And he was able to talk. In fact, the penalty was like, he just decided to put it there. It was like the keeper was on the other side and he took the ball in and they won that game, putting them just 2 points behind Hearts, going to the last game of the season. And it's between Celtic and Hearts. So it's a case of winners takes all. Okay. And that's what happened. Even the fact that Hearts took the lead in that game against Celtic, even at their own ground. But second half, they changed things around with Iheanacho coming in again, even though he didn't score a goal. But he has done enough with that one penalty to really help them to that level. So the guy has always been like that. Okay. And look at all the clubs he has played for. He always had a part in whatever. Winning. That's just it.
So we can give it up to Kelechi Iheanacho on the show today. All right, who do we get up to again? Maduka Okoye, yes, because I wanted to go across board. Now, Maduka Okoye, why is he coming in? For his team, Udinese, he has kept 10 clean sheets this season. And of course, just over the weekend, he was nominated Player of the Month. So that's why Maduka Okoye is coming in into the show today. I want to have, a balanced thing.
And
but
don't
if you
forget,
check what the women had done, it's kind of higher. But we're going to create a balance here. And don't forget, Maduka Okoye, of course,
was suspended for almost, was it 2 months or 3 months?
Yes.
So maybe the clean sheet
for
will
the
have
betting
more
issue.
than...
Yeah, it could have been more than that.
More than that. So that's why I said he has done well for himself. He helped Udinese, and you can imagine how much they missed him when he was out. And that was why he immediately returned. That was more reason why he did not even come for the Nations Cup, AFCON in Morocco, because it was a case of, if you go for AFCON again, you miss more games. You've missed so many matches.
And of course, you're not guaranteed number one spot. You may not even be within the stick.
So that's why he decided to just stay back, and it's paid off.
Okay. Does it justify stand up? Yeah, it does. Okay. Give it up to Maduka Okoye, Player of the Month. Nomination. We'll wait to see if he's going to get it. Now, the main topic of the day, why Charles is actually here. I had to drag him all the way from Ikorodu to be here. What did Ghana just host? Was it an inter-house sports or a real African championships? When you've been to several African championships, you know the difference I'm talking about in terms of coverage, in terms of trying to get the correct result, in terms of athletes having to rely on officials to tell them, oh, your throw is just 16 meters. Because why? They can't see it on an electronic board. These are some of the dramas that happen in Accra, Ghana. Don't worry. We'll bring Christopher here to tell us the live experience. But then Charles was trying to follow it up because he was in Botswana. He couldn't go to Accra, Ghana. He was trying to follow it up. And of course, write his story for New Telegraph. It was the most difficult thing to do because getting the right result was hard. I waited for almost the next day to get the correct result for the first medal that Nigeria won. I was talking about discus. Yeah, Nigeria dominated that. 1 silver, 1 bronze. We knew that. But what was their throw? We waited till the next day to know that. So, Charles, tell me, how has it been for you? The African Senior Championship ended on Sunday. You went into the night. There was rain delay. We saw that. Yeah. But then what was it like for you, monitoring it, trying to get out your story? Let's start off with that.
Let me just say it this way. I was in Ghana when Accra, the same stadium, hosted the African Games. In Ligue hosted the African Games. And you don't have to wait, in fact, 3 seconds before you see the result of all the athletes. It's scrolled here on the screen immediately. You see luckily, we were together in Botswana, and you saw it immediately. Nigeria, third time, second, third, everything will come up on the screen immediately.
Board, yeah.
So I was surprised that the same place, the same country, the same stadium hosted a championship that should be an improvement on what they did with the African Games. Because during the African Games, they have more events. Yes. This one is only athletics.
Only
track and field. So it should have been a better competition than even the African Games. But I was surprised that no start lists. The athletes complain of feeding, the accommodation. I stayed in the hostel during the African Games and I saw what they put up. In fact, most times, some of our athletes decided not to even stay outside. They decided to stay inside the camp so that they can be with their fellow athletes. And it was a good one. Toby was there. At least I remember Toby Amusan was there. Ezebime was there. And everybody were in the game village. It was a good one for everybody. What's coming this time around, you can't see results. No start lists. No results. No electronic listing. But at least it was an improvement from Douala, where they used clapperboard to start.
Wait, say it again.
In Douala,
yes.
Some athletes decided to pull out. They said they are not competing again because first the track was not that good for them, and they don't want to get injury. Then they were using clapperboard, like when we were in secondary school. To ask for, your mark, set,
instead of the gun.
Instead of the gun. Yeah. Then look at the so many mistakes that happen here. You had issues with your gun, and then you disqualify an athlete because your gun had an issue. You can imagine Asher and the other guy ran the whole race before they realized that they've called them back since. They were not even looking at, because they were, yes, as an athlete, you go for your own race. So they were actually going for their own race. They didn't bother to look beside them.
If others were following or not,
they were running
alone.
back. You can imagine the kind of embarrassment. And that should be our flagship. I've been to at least about 4 or 5 African championships. I've been to Morocco twice. I've been to South Africa. I've been to even Togo here did their own. It was better.
So now, what went wrong for Ghana from hosting the African Games? Because the last African Games
was 2024.
Ghana. Yeah, 2020. So we're talking about 2 years
2
now.
years.
Same facilities, same universities, same region. So what went wrong? What happened?
I won't say same facilities.
Okay. But because it's the same university.
It's the same university, but they cannot produce the same facility they used the last time.
So
like the electronic board and all those things.
Between, what happened?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with West Africa. Let me just put it that way. Because
is it a maintenance syndrome? You know, we in Nigeria, we know we have that maintenance syndrome.
I think that's I don't know, because it happened to us. Yeah. If you check some of these.
Do you want to remember Asaba 2018? Because somebody was trying to compare Asaba 2018 to Ghana 2026. I felt no. At least Asaba, we didn't have to go through that.
No. We don't have to go through. The only problem.
So this was really terrible.
The problem we had with Asaba 2018 was the fact that they just fixed the track, and they did not test it. Okay. Because it was supposed to use competition, a proper competition to test it before using for such a championship. But even at that, you can't tell me, you can't compare both.
Is this the reason? Because, you know, when we're in Botswana, we spoke with some of those athletes, you know, we're going to come for the African Championships. The senior athletes, mostly South Africa, you know, Botswana, they told me no, he wasn't going to come. You know, so many athletes said they were not coming. Was it because of what happened in Cameroon? Because we've seen that since 2018, we've discovered that it's like the African Championship, most of the top athletes are not coming. Because in 2018, all the athletes, South Africa, they had a full house. You know, then Caster Semenya was still running.
Yes.
She was there. Sabine, almost all the athletes.
I think South Africa came with almost, if
all
not more than 100
athletes, all their top athletes.
Asaba.
So, but since Asaba 2018, it's like it's dropping. We've seen that most of these senior athletes are pulling out. Is it as a result of organization, or there's something else that we are not seeing that is happening?
Okay, when you talk about Asaba, now most records there were not recognized.
Yes.
So you can't imagine, after I've done my work, trained hard for days, for weeks, only for me to run a race and you tell me that my race is not recognized. It was in vain. My stress and everything. And he saddened, then you now go for the next one and you realize that it was not even up to the standard of the one you are even complaining about. It will affect you. Then you look at this year. This year is packed. Mm-hmm. World Relay just finished, and then you're having Commonwealth Games coming up later in 2 months. If not for the World Cup,
Challenge Championship,
the Ultimate this year again, and it's the same athlete, this same set of athletes that will come around to do all these things. So you can't really blame them for pulling out of this particular one. I don't think they are expecting what happened there. Okay. Because most of them were at African Games. So coming for the last African Games, they will expect similar facility like they experienced the last time. So they are not looking up to something like that. For Tobi Amusan to come, and it's not just because she wanted to come and win her third title, but the fact that she experienced the place before and it was a good experience for her. But coming there and now seeing so many things again. Like the last African Games that Tobi ran, Tobi had issues with gun too. Mm-hmm. She had to run under protests.
Yes, I remember.
Which Ashe would have done.
Yeah.
But because Ashe did not have the gun.
He didn't have,
So it was difficult for him to come back and now run with the other. So he was disqualified and removed from the race. But if it was like the Tobi case, he would have said, okay, I want to run under protest. Then he would have won his protest at the end of the day. But what I'm going to is, I don't know, Accra, Ghana, they really, it was a big disappointment, seriously. For me, and for everybody, in fact, for those that were there, you can imagine no internet, even within the stadium, within the university. It's something that you don't have to buy data on your phone when we were there. It was everywhere. You don't no stress. Even the people prefer to come to the media tribune, the media gallery to sit because it was one of the best setup, and you enjoy yourself. You don't have to. You just have to pick your phone and snap the screen to get the result. You don't even need to wait for papers. You just snap it and get your results immediately. It was already there. Instantly. But I don't know what happened between 2024 and 2026. 2 years. No.
Okay. So how in all now, how will you rate the Ghana hosting the 2026 African Senior Athletics Championships compared to the ones you've covered over the years?
Oh, let me say overall. 2 over 10. Okay. I'll give them 2 over 10. Seriously.
Ghana, I thought it would have been better than this because I remember almost everyone still talking about Sabah 2018, 2 over 10. Well, that's more like a failed attempt for Ghana. Maybe the World Athletics. I'm happy that Sebastian Coe was actually around. You know, he gave out some of the medals, so he would have seen that. And of course, the CAA. Unfortunately, during that tournament, we actually lost the president of the Athletics Federation of Africa. So our heart goes out to the family, you know, for losing such a wonderful man who's, you know, handled African athletics so well, especially all the results or the records that have been broken when it comes to, you know, African athletics. But I think Africa can actually do better than this because this is our flagship. Yes, Botswana hosted the World Championships for the first time, you know, for the first time when an African country is hosting, they hosted with pride. And all the athletes that were there said they want to come back to Botswana to, you know, participate in another championship. But the same cannot be said of Ghana at the moment because hosting only Africa, we're not talking about the world right now. They've sent it out to everyone that Africa, they're really not capable of being consistent, of being dominant in terms of hosting international and of course major events. This is our flagship when it comes to athletics, but not having your key athletes, not having your key athletes there, and also having a show of shame because that's the definition at the moment. Then Ghana, well, a red card for them. And I hope that the African Athletics Championship, the CAA, will understand that yes, this will just be the last time they host any event. Maybe for the next 10 years, Ghana should host anything that comes to athletics because not many athletes want to see this. Now, in terms of results, you know, we're talking behind the scene, how you were trying to write, you know, a particular story, the drama that involves Rosemary Chukwuma. Tell me about that drama because we all saw it.
Before talking about Rosemary, Botswana hosted World Relay.
Yes.
They are hosted in SCAA. I hope, I pray, we don't experience Ghana experience again.
It's not going to happen.
Because you can imagine 2 years after, and this one too is 2 years after. So hopefully we are not going to experience
I think if there's no change of leadership, you know, the stories that were flying is the fact that there was change of leadership, you know, in terms of the sports ministry, the former sports minister
in Ghana.
So there's a new sports minister. Maybe that could just be, maybe money wasn't released on time for them to adequately prepare for this. So we can excuse them. So
Rosemary. You know, we were expecting Rosemary in Botswana. Rosemary was supposed to be part of the relay team, and she has been one of our best athletes this year, female athletes this year. Looking at what happened to her, we all at home, as in, I saw the race, I saw everything. I was like, oh, she has won the gold, no doubt about that. But suddenly, we saw medal presentation because the medal presentation came almost immediately after the race. And then we saw her receiving silver. Everybody was like, what really happened? What happened? And it was when we saw and I was called in my office that, no, we need that story. I said, no, I cannot write this story because at the end of the day, it's my name at stake. I've not seen the result. I don't even know the time. They only said 11:44. And one thing in athletics is the fact that you don't announce unofficial result because anything you announce unofficially, it's against your own name. And especially this era of social media, the way they will drag you on social media, you will think you stole a goat. So it's a case of trying to be sure of what. And it was because the time that came out was 11:44. At the end of the day, it was not 11:44 recorded for Rosemary. The 11:44 was actually recorded for the other lady, the Cameroonian girl. So it was You can now imagine if it was with the normal screen timer, it will have shown the correct thing immediately, because that moved from the teletronics straight to the to the screen. And that's the same thing Nigeria did when we hosted on our 18 and under 20 championship here. Even though there was a little mistake there too, because when you see athletes A and athletes 8-1, then you look at, this is Cecilia now. Cecilia is the one that won. This is not Cecilia's name there. It's the fact that there was a mixed up of the names. But yes, at least you see it. The time will come out for you immediately. And that's what we help anybody. As a journalist, you don't have to be at an event. The world has turned global. That you don't have to be at the championship before you can know what happened there. It's there. It's right there, up there for you. Even football and everything, you see the time, you see the weightlifting thing we were talking about, you see everything. Timing, yeah. Table tennis, it's always there. But finding it difficult to now get these results, finding it difficult to know what A has done or B has done. The only clear result that I got was Tobi Amusan.
Yes.
Because our own was
it was obvious.
Then, let's say, by the time they started the relay, and Nigeria was gone blazing, so it was
already. Let's go back to Rosemary now. Is there something she could have done differently? Because there was something we're saying before we started recording about how to execute your race perfectly to be assured that yes, you've done your best. Is there something you could have done differently?
The point is, one thing about track and field, you don't make, especially 100 meter.
Yeah.
Any mistake, you are gone. Yes. You are out of the race. 200, you can still. The only person that I know that always have a slow start and still beat anybody is Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt will start badly, he will still beat you. There is nothing you can do about it when it was still Usain Bolt. But look at what happened to Rosemary. Yeah. It was after checking the photo finish that I realized that she made a technical mistake, because that was the fact. She thought she already won the race, so she didn't dip at all, because she was leading, but the girl that won and everybody was far away from her, so she was unable to see what the girl was doing. That's why most times, like I was saying behind the camera, that when Toby won silver at the Olympic, Toby believed she already won the gold, because when they asked that question, she was like, she just saw the shadow. Where is this one coming from again? The two people she was trying to guide herself against, she was already in front of them. But when you see somebody coming from lane 1 and you are in lane 4, you don't, because by the time you look right or left, you are already almost out of the race. And all do is you are jumping. So it was the shadow of the other lady that she saw, and she was like, at least don't let another person beat me again. If this one is gone already, don't let another one come, because if she did not do that, maybe another person will have just come around. But I think our coaches still need to do some of these things, because we had an interview with Chidi, and Chidi said something. He said all these coaches should come together, exchange ideas. Don't make it like, this is my athlete, this is not my athlete. If they all can come together, let's say all the 100-meter coaches who are together, they've shown them what to do. Like the issue of exchange of betting that happened in Botswana is something that not one person or two people can do. It's supposed to be a collective effort, a constant thing. Let people share. I remember in 2015 when we went to Ethiopia for African under 20. A coach came with an athlete from Netherlands, and the guy had to call the coaches. He said, please, you are all good. You are all good coaches, but can we exchange ideas? Can I tell you one or two things that I think you can do to make it better? A day before the last day of the competition, the athletes were already worn out and were having a relay the following day. And all the coaches were like, let's go for training. The guy called them and said, can I chip in something? Nobody's going for training today. All the coaches were like, we have race tomorrow. We have this. He said, no, everybody go to the pool. All the athletes went into the pool. They were there all through. He collected all their phones. They were just in the pool, enjoyed themselves for hours. And at the end of the day, they walked from the hotel to the stadium and returned. They just walk and return. Come and see record the following day now. The guy now said, at that moment, he realized that those athletes are gone. They are worn out already, because the weather was very, very harsh. So it has affected their health. it has affected their mental health
okay.
at the same time. So some of them were bleeding from their nose. So
yes,
it was
because Ethiopia, the weather in Ethiopia is very dry.
so
yes,
it was too much for them,
Yeah.
and you still want to push them into that condition to run again and say you want to run there to warm up and do this train, and that thing worked for the team. Thank God the technical director there agreed.
Who was technical director?
Navy Commodore Omashe Nesema. He
okay.
agreed with the coach. The coach came with Itwa and Nauru.
Okay.
Itwa is now competing for Germany.
Yes.
Itwa came that time to do pole vault for Nigeria, and that thing worked for our team. That was when they set 4x1 100-meter women record.
Yeah.
I think we won 4x1 men too. That following day, we won almost everything.
I think that was our best outing in terms of at that particular
we won. We defeated South Africa.
Yes,
that was the first and the last
time we defeated South Africa.
Because South Africa did not agree since then.
Yeah, why would they? They wouldn't agree for anybody. Okay, now I love this story you just told us because not so many people understand this. So how can we actually have these things? I think you guys will get to hear from Chidi Okeze the way he explained it, how coaches can come together. But the truth is, will they listen? With the new technical director talking about Gabriel Okon, will they listen? Will they really want to do this? Because it's a whole lot. They need to put athletes in camp. All the coaches need to come together. And of course, if they need to listen to him, and then just maybe we can be better. Now, let's talk about fatigue. Does that mean maybe that actually apply to the athletes coming from Botswana? Because 80% of the athletes who were in Botswana were also at the African Games. We saw some countries who had to like have two lists. Kenya, for instance, while we were still in Botswana, their list was already out.
Yes.
So most of the athletes that were at the world relays were not here. We're not in Accra, Ghana. They had to split it. South Africa also had like some contingent that were in Botswana, also part of it. But the big boys, literally speaking, did not come to Accra, Ghana. Is it a question of we overworking our athletes? And also, of course, this time around, we have to rely on, home-based athletes. We didn't have the privilege of having the NCAA athletes. And that's why people have been saying, for the first time in 20 years, we had the worst performance in terms of medals. Just a reminder, Nigeria finished fourth. If you see the medals table, you understand what I'm talking about. And that out of the medals that we won, the women, as usual, the dominance. Yeah, I'm not trying to brag, but that is it. It's a fact. All the gold medals. The only individual gold medal we won was Tobiloba Amuso, of course, 100 meters hurdles. You can't take that away from her. For the women, the 4x100 meters women, for the fourth time in a row, they won a gold medal. Since Asaba 2018, they've been dominating that. So they own it. And of course, the women 4x400, Patience Oko George. How do you describe a legend like that? So for the second time in a row, also at the African Championship, they won gold in that. And the men, of course, 4x100 meters, they won silver, led by Favour. And obviously, you had the mixed relay team also winning a gold medal.
With two men.
Okay, so give it up for our women at the African Senior Athletics Championship.
And let's give it to the two men who are part of the 4x4 mixed relay team.
4x100 meters mixed relay. Okay,
4x4.
4x4. Okay, yes. Give it to them. You see, even the Vivizela did not even agree with me. Yeah, he did not agree. He didn't agree. The 4x400 meters men, at least they did some. They got silver in that one. But yes, it wasn't the performance that we expected. Yeah, but then the glory, or rather the joy I'm taking away from it, is the fact that the last time we've having brilliant performances, but this time around we didn't have the complement of most of the foreign-based athletes. Those in the NCAA, we had to rely here at home. Now, could they have done better if we had a structure like Chidi talked about, and also train these athletes, having more competitions for them? Because while we were in Botswana, athletes were leaving the very next day to go to a meet to run. Why? They need to feed their family. They need the money, obviously.
Looking at what happened in Ghana, and you did not mention the real takeaway, because my own takeaway happened to be the fact that we had so many young athletes competing at this championship. You can imagine SS2 students running among big boys and big girls. You can imagine somebody that just wrote jump just few days before traveling to Ghana, winning 4x100 meter relay women. And if you can imagine what will happen with these people, they are all home-based athletes. You can imagine what will happen to them in 2 years' time. By 2028, if they are able to work on them very well and it do not allow them to overwork themselves, because one of the biggest things that is affecting most of our athletes is the fact that even the NCAA that we're talking about, there is a case of who pays the piper dictates the tune. That's the case with most of our athletes, because they are the one paying them, they are the one giving them scholarship. So at the end of the day, they use them. If they ask them not to go for any championship, then there is no way they will go. And the most important thing is, if you can maintain our athletes that are back at home here, that are here, then the future is bright for us. But the most important thing is, because most of them too, the first thing they will think of doing is going to the US and then continue with their education. And I'm happy with what MOC is doing at the moment in partnership with one of the telecommunication company in Nigeria. I don't want to mention it here so that I won't pay for adverts. But at the end of the day, they have some of these athletes in an academy here in Lagos. So they go to school from the academy and come back for training. They go for training in the morning. They come out like Toibat is part of the academy. Ezekiel is part of the academy. What's this guy's name? Ojeli is part of the academy. And they have so many others that are not even part of this Nigerian national team. Then the school in Abuja that is helping some of them, the school where Miracle just graduated from, the same school where Jennifer is at the moment. Go to the state like Anambra, there is a particular school called Vision Eye. And in that school, the owner of the school is the coach, is the principal, is everything. And that's where they always go for a championship in Anambra State. And that championship produced almost 6 of these athletes that are so if we can have such a thing. And one thing about athletes, if they don't think of what to do, what next to do, I'm not thinking of what to eat, I'm not thinking of the water to drink, I'm not thinking of the expenses. My mommy is not in the hospital and I need to work to take care of my mom. I have everything for me. They will give out their best. That's just one thing about them. That's what differentiates the so-called foreign-based athlete to this. It's the same athlete that are running here before traveling abroad. They are still running the same better time. They're not the same thing. Look at Ogazi now. Ogazi
yes, give it up for Ogazi. Yes, I think we need to give it up for Ogazi. I think another clap. He deserves another clap. So for the first time in the history, I mean, we had a Nigerian actually running under 43 seconds.
44 seconds. She did 43.95.
I mean,
and this year alone, this guy has done this thing back to back to back. He has broken 3 records. In fact, he broke the record of Innocent Egminike of so many years. Yes. I think 1986 or something. That was the record. He broke the record. He broke his own record. He broke his own record again. And becoming the first Nigeria to sub 44. Imagine, this guy started from here too, before moving. And so it's like they have something there that is helping them that we are not having here. And that's what we need to work on. Look at the High Performance Center in Port Harcourt. I've been there before. And in years back, it was one of the best. Gambia sent 2 of their upcoming athletes to the place. When the 2 of them came for Asaba 2018, they were like, so you are here? Said, yes, they are here to represent their country. And I think one of them defeated Divine Oduduru in 100 meters. Yes. Those are the people who are in the same high performance center in Port Harcourt. If you can work on a high performance center, make use of the University of Port Harcourt track and everything, then you will see what these people can achieve. Exactly. Let's have something for them. Let them know that, okay, I'm in the university, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We have people in Unilag. Enelborg was Udobong was a student in University of Calabar. Mm-hmm. And because he happened to be an athlete, he was given a room to himself. So he was letting out his room to students to collect money and making extra money for himself. That is just it. But he was able to achieve that because he was an athlete, and the school was able to give him scholarship. How many schools are giving athletes scholarship in Nigeria at the moment? It's difficult for this athlete. A professor will tell you that if you didn't come for my test, now you sabi, you don't fail with that. An athlete having that, we think twice before going to train. We think twice before giving all his best to train. I was a victim of such.
Tell me your story.
I was a victim of such. I was in GS1, GS2, GS3. I was the best in 100 meter in my school. I was running with dead people. And those ones, before they shoot gun, they are gone. So you have to go extra mile to meet up with them. And they have extra strength because God gave them, because they are taking something from them, God gave them all other things. It's just like the blind people. Where you cannot see, they will see. They are blind though, but they can walk where you feel that in darkness you cannot walk.
That's why they are special athletes.
So you cannot imagine when I got to SS1 and I was unable, in my secondary school, the best athletes are in school house, which is pink house. I was put in pink house because the principal of the school saw me when I was competing against in school before. And I was put there. But there was no, I was just like, I will have to go to class. I will have to read. I will do prep. Now, I'll finish prep between 3 and 5, then go for training between 5 and 6, then go to eat, then come back for prep again from 7 to 9. It's so much difficult for me. It was taking its toll on me. I had to pull out gradually. When others are running forward, I run backwards. And they had to remove me from the school.
That's how
team.
You become a talker.
And that's why I love the sport, athletics. And it happens to so many athletes. When we're talking about our men, it's easier for the women. The men are suffering it
really?
more.
That's a story.
No, that's the truth. The men are... You can imagine some of these so-called women. No, let me use that word. Some of these our established women athletes. You'll be surprised that they have some men that had to leave their own career as an athlete to support them, to support their dream. It's more than, sometimes it's not just about the love. It's the fact that they realize that they have so many things to cater for. They have so many responsibilities to handle. So the best thing is for them to just jettison their own this thing and face this athlete. Look at Lekon, the husband of AJ. What's her name? AJ, yes. Our athletes, 100 meter, that won 3 medals at the African Games. She won gold, silver, bronze. The only athlete to achieve that.
Okay.
We properly call her AJ.
Yeah.
The husband happened to be her coach in University of FUNAB, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. And the guy was able to invest so much. They were not even dating. But saw an athlete and said, oh, this one has potential. And decided to invest so many things into her. Leaving his own career as so-called coach athletes. Leaving his own career as a journalist to push athletes. And decided to focus on her and some others with his own athletic club, which is called the Victor. The Victor is still there. And the outcome was the girl coming out with what she achieved. And going forward, she's in US too now, competing in university. It was during that period, love grew and yes.
Got married.
But where I'm going is the fact that some men decide to let go
of their own career.
Coach Yaya decided to let go of Kade Yaya, to let go of his own career. Yes, he had injury, but decided to support the wife, who was a great athlete at that time. This girl's mom is a Brumen's mom, happened to be an athlete.
Yeah.
But luckily for her, she had somebody like Coach Yaya, who decided to take
her
daughter away to Uniben and start training. And that's why I will continue to appreciate Ezebrume. Because Ezebrume came up when she gained admission, a scholarship in Greece. Ezebrume said, I cannot go if my coach will not come with me. And the school agreed with her because she realized what this man has done in
her career.
Building her Look at Temitope Adeshino.
Adeshino, yes.
We have so many of them. And they had opportunity which some of the men
they didn't have.
You can imagine. You can imagine the likes of Jakpa. You can imagine the likes of Jakpa. Jakpa, but where is Jakpa today? You can imagine the kind of
What really happened to Jack Ma?
He's in US. I spoke with Erayo Khan, Orukpe.
Yeah.
Orukpe said he had to face it. Orukpe said he can do 44 at the moment. That, in fact, he's doing 44. Just normal training. Well, you know, championship is different from
It's
training.
different from, yes.
But he said what he has achieved, living track and field, in the last 3 years, he's not sure he can achieve that in 10 years. So why not just face...
Okay, now, okay. Yeah, let's bring it down and let's conclude on this particular topic about why we have our women actually performing better, staying longer on the sport. Now, we're talking about financial responsibilities, for instance. That's come to bear, especially looking at Rukbe's case. Because, you know, why we are smiling, because if you know Rukbe, I mean, he's one of those athletes who was always making headlines whenever he was running. He makes headline every time he's running. So Rukbe's case is, I mean, you have to look at the financial aspect of it. Now, are we going to take that into consideration in trying to ensure that our athletes are well cared for? Because we mentioned earlier that when we were Botswana, we had athletes who were saying, oh, I need to go to Cote d'Ivoire to go run a meet. Why? For money. I need to go to Russia to go run a meet. Why? For money. Now, if these athletes are assured that after these African championships, if I win a medal, I could get maybe $5,000, for instance, and I'm not going to wait for like 1 year to get it. You sure these athletes will still remain and continue and not want to do other things?
Let me give you an example of one of our athletes, Chioma. Okay. Chioma works for a company in the US.
Yes.
And oftentimes, when we're in Ghana for African Games, she missed her flights. The next thing, she was still waiting for them to... The next thing I had, she called her office, they booked a new flight for her, and she was gone. She's not thinking of the money they're giving her from Nigeria. Because if he comes, or when I go. If he didn't come, or when I go. Because she has something doing. If, for example, there's provision for jobs for these people, so they know that, like some of them are in police, they're in immigration, they're in customs, they're in fire service, they don't have to go to office. Chioma Jua left her job as an athlete and returned to become
ASP.
I think she was AIG at a point. So you can imagine what that has done for her. So she's not thinking of, oh, I need to collect 1 million from this meet or this. She's collecting her salary. Sikiru Adeyemi said she cannot live for your state. He cannot live for your state. Yes. Because even though the money was small, they keep paying in money monthly. That helps. So that's just what we can do for some of these athletes. Chidi will not bother about some of these things. I've been in a place where Chidi said they're supposed to give them social amounts. Other athletes rejected the money because Chidi collected his own money. He said, I thought I'm bad. So let me be going with it. Yeah. Because if I didn't collect it, I might not collect anything again. So if there is provision for them like that, I can bet you our athletes are hard workers.
Yes, we'll see.
That's the truth. They are ready to give it up.
Can we agree on something that maybe the women are more hardworking and more dedicated than the men? That's why they are winning more medals.
Most men are breadwinners at their houses.
Okay, women are not.
No,
you want to go down that.
No. Women still have. Sometimes you look at the women, the kind of responsibility on the men are not the same way on the women. That's the truth. Let's face reality of life. The responsibility is not. I have 4 siblings who are ladies. They still come to me they're not in their husband's house. But they still come to me. But I mean, I need this. But I mean, I need that. And I'm the firstborn of the house. I'm like their father because their father is dead. So they look up to me as their father. That's kind of responsibility. Some of these athletes too. And they have younger ones. They have themselves too. So it's always a case of trying to balance both sides.
Balancing both sides. But in balancing all of it, the truth still remains that, well, the women, the dominance continue. And of course, winning medals, consistency, that's what is key. And I hope that maybe the National Sports Commission can do something about having our athletes. Yes, I know they're doing a lot, in terms of grants and every other thing. But from what we've talked about on the show today, it's all about the welfare of the athletes. And of course, having not to rely so much on the NCAA athletes. Groom them here. And if they leave, let them face their education over there. And then when they're done, they turn professionals. Yes, they always come here. But then as you're grooming these ones, as you're leaving, you're grooming others. So you have that conveyor belt for Nigeria to thrive when it comes to athletics. Yes, it was the worst performance in 20 years, but then a lot of takeaways from there because of the athletes that were discovered. And hopefully in 28th, when Botswana is hosting, we have a better outing. And of course, the Commonwealth Games is also coming. We also have a better outing on that. Well, Swa is not here. Stuck up in Port Harcourt somewhere. But then, you know what to do, right? So just click on the button, subscribe, follow us, and share your views. What do you think about the show? And of course, some of the topics we've talked about are outstanding athletes, especially. And of course, we'll send a wonderful message to all those who've been following us and, of course, liking, tweeting, and of course also retweeting all our shows, that there's something we preach here. It's all about being good, doing good to the very next person. And of course, for athletes, first thing first, remember that they're humans like all of us. They're humans, number one, before they became athletes. So when you want to criticize them, please be gentle. Thank you.